So let's check in on the 2023 Barnes University draft class. With that first pick, I would have taken Jaxon Smith-Njigba for the Tennessee Titans. That logic has been worked through already, but just a refresher, he's a dynamic inside the numbers prospect that's going to be able to get open, awesome route runner, add some youth to that wide receiver core, gives you a guy that, can play for years and years to come off of projection, right? We never know what will happen to these players, but just looking for a youth movement from the Titans at skill positions, adding him to the bunch, I think would have been awesome. And he had a 77 even PFF grade this preseason, and he flashed what he could do. I expect him to be back and ready to go by week 2 or 3, definitely after the bye. As you can see here, more quick than fast. So in round 2, the Titans traded up to take their, quarterback of the future, while I would have selected Jonathan Mingo. If they hadn't moved up, Mingo would have been selected 2 picks earlier. So I would have probably taken Osiris Torrance to get that interior lineman that I needed. But you get a big, fast athlete, high profile in terms of athletic ability, and you're just betting on the traits here. Just like with all those Ole Miss receivers, he has everything needed to be one of those guys. And after trading A.J. Brown, that would be awesome to restore that type of ability to that offense. Has anyone else noticed that Achane just casually added an apostrophe in his name during this whole offseason process? But anyway, this is a selection that I think me and the Titans were in lockstep position-wise, obviously not player. And some of my reservations for Tyjae Spears was injury history, as well as he did put the ball on the ground a couple times this past season, which I don't really like. But those things can be corrected. But overall, I don't disagree with the player or the pick or the assessment at all. I just wanted a little bit more juice. A guy that's basically a track guy, and has that home run hitter ability. And, we haven't had that, outside of Derrick Henry. But we haven't had like just pure juice. And I hate really using that word, but just pure acceleration from a guy like Achane would be awesome in this offense and on special teams because he has return ability. So I think this pick is, once, he gets enough opportunities, I think this might be a kind of a push type of deal where it evens out. You can say that Peter Skoronski in the first round has been steady, and he has. But like I said, in the second round, I would have went with Osiris Torrance. So that would have kind of, to me, been a push because I think that Osiris Torrance is just as good on the interior as Peter Skoronski. And it's not that it's a comparison or we're competing, but it's just looking at the whole grand scheme of things. Where did you possibly lose out? What are you sacrificing? But definitely my whole plan is slightly different than the Titans because I wanted more of a youth movement, thinking of the future. The Titans are in win now mode, so they drafted accordingly. But like I said, I think Achane packs on a few more pounds of muscle. Understand that you cannot get picked up in this league. Do not let people pick you up. But, I think that, he has great hands out of the backfield, and obviously that burst will be awesome to see at this level. Now, for my 4th selection, I selected Clemson tackle, but transitioned to guard number 71 there, Jordan McFadden, who had an excellent preseason. Got called for a big hold, I think, in that first game, which really wasn't a hold. But he moves well. You could argue that Jordan McFadden's preseason was comparable to a lot of early round interior offensive linemen. I won't say any names, but it was definitely a value pick selecting him there. So my 5th selection was center Luke Whippler out of Ohio State. He's going to be number 56 there for the Cleveland Browns. He actually made it, and this depends on if you even care about PFF, which I find it to be relatively accurate. It might not be very detailed and give those people who love, intellectual highs their high, but I think is relatively accurate. He was on the all preseason team for rookies. He did an excellent job. I mean, he barely, or if ever, was overwhelmed. He held his own right there. He's folding somebody. So I really love, and value my processes definitely over the past couple of years on how I'm being able to find these type of prospects through my due diligence. Great late round pick. He's just on a team that has great offensive linemen, especially at center. So on probably about 50% of other teams, he'd be either the center 2 or starting. So definitely a great value for the Cleveland Browns there. He's getting awesome coaching, and he looks like an awesome prospect and player so far. So this is an easy highlight because every time you see the ball, whoever has the ball, Trey Dean is going to be near them. So that's pretty good about this highlight, that I don't have to move around too much. Wherever the ball is at, that's where Trey Dean is going to be. So with that being said, he's number 38. It's good to see with this draft class that all players are still on teams. Trey Dean was actually an undrafted free agent that was able to basically be the leading tackler on this New York Jets team. That's impressive because of how stacked they are. He was a leading tackler. They released him but brought him back on the practice squad. He is one of those players that I've been trying to look for, and you can really tell that Joe Douglas values as well by drafting players like I think his name was Jeremy Sherwood and Hamza Alzreldine out of FSU a few years ago. He really likes that hybrid safety linebacker look, and I do too. Over the several years, I've been trying to find that guy that can be in the box, cover tight ends, and Joe Douglas does the same thing as the GM for the Jets. But I think Trey Dean is one of those players, man. Wherever the ball's at, he's going to be at. He'd be an awesome special teamer. I know why they brought him back, and he's kind of like a Luke Whippler type guy. When I'm talking about if he was on any other team, he's definitely on the roster on the 53, and he's contributing. He's probably going to, on any other team, probably a safety 2, safety 3, just because of his box play. He has his weaknesses in terms of coverage and certain movement laterally. But overall, I'm liking this draft class. Thank God for another cycle, and I'm ready for next year's. But definitely all these players on the Titans would have, in my opinion, upgraded certain positions that they need. But like I said, it's not a competition, just a different viewpoint, looking for the future, looking at dynamic skill sets. And that's the Barnes University draft class of 2023. So far, so good.